So tell me how Indivo is new and different from other things like VistA, other open source electronic health records, and what we have on the market.
Well, there's a couple of distinctions we can draw there, right? First is the difference between a system like VistA, obviously, is it's just an EHR, which makes it institution tethered and institution focused. Those things, the first institution tethered means that all the data that is put into VistA pretty much stays within the VA. It's a VA system. Whereas something like Indivo is actually designed intentionally to be institution non-specific, to allow patients to have sort of a longitudinal view of their medical data throughout their entire lifetime.
Well, it seems like the VistA folks are reaching out by offering that blue button.
They absolutely are, and I think that's a great initiative on the part of Obama there to try and make data more accessible to patients. But it's not quite the same. The idea for Indivo is that a patient should be able to have their medical record with them wherever they go, without needing to click a button to export it. The record travels with them, and if they want to take their Indivo record to another hospital, that's fine. It's sort of closer to what you might call the Google Health model, which incidentally they first heard about at a conference we gave back in 2006. The model that your medical data is hosted somewhere that might not necessarily be within the medical institution itself, and so if you go to another institution, you just have to point them to your one Google Health record, and they can see all the data.
Yeah. And the architecture is also interesting, I understand. It's a modern, modular architecture, RESTful interface, any language can interact with it, and so forth.
Right. So our initial project it was called Indivo 3, the original rollout, and that was just a very sort of basic PHR framework. The latest version, Indivo X, is what actually my current project, and we like to call it the Facebook platform for health. Mm-hmm. And the analogy, I think, holds very well. So Facebook can be thought of as sort of a data store for a lot of information, right? It contains your profile information, who you're friends with, et cetera, and people can build Facebook apps on top of it, which provide meaningful ways of publishing that data to the user. Indivo X works exactly the same way. We have sort of an Indivo core server, which contains, essentially, it has some other features, but at its core is just a data store for patient medical information. And then we allow everything else that interacts with Indivo uses this REST API to access Indivo, and is basically an app that uses the API to publish data in meaningful ways to patients.
And I imagine you're hoping that your format, your API will be sort of a standard as an open source product after all.
Well, that's actually a great segue to a related project. So for us at Indivo, we've developed our own Indivo API, which we think is a great, robust way of getting data. But it's really specific to Indivo, and it's tailored to certain features. For example, we have a sharing API that's very specific to the Indivo system. The related project, it's called the SMART project, which is funded by a $15 million SHARP grant from the ONC, is really dedicated to taking the modularity presented by Indivo and making that not just runnable on Indivo, but in fact on any medical health system. So any data feed that can produce this, what they call the SMART API, which they're trying to make the standard, will be able to run on any health system. And we at Indivo have plans to support that API.
And what are some of the institutions that are backing the SHARP initiative?
So that initiative is it's in its very initial stages. I know already they've deployed it at, well, they're in the process of getting it worked out at Children's Hospital. We runs the Cerner EMR. And it has sort of a patient interface called mPages, and they've worked with mPages to get SMART up and running on that platform. Again, we at Indivo are supporting it as a personal health record. We're in the process of enabling that. And additionally, the research database I2B2 has been shown to support it already.